Everyone, Red Rebel Jeff Jones here. Now, in this video, I want to give my thoughts on some of the things I think Trump needs to really get a hold on quickly in his second term as president. Now, he's being inaugurated today, so I think it's important for him to really hit the ground running. Now, before we get into it, please like and share this video to give it a boost. And share your thoughts with me in the comment section down below, because I'd like to hear what you guys think. So first off, I want to talk about different areas. And first off, I want to talk about the economy. And this is one area where I think Trump really needs to get a handle on it quickly because the economy under the Biden Harris administration has been disastrous. Inflation has nailed the country to a really bad degree. And I think Trump really needs to get the economy back on track. No, I do think he can do it because he is smart when it comes to this stuff. Because as shown by his first term in office, where he had he had the economy going really really well, regardless of what frame of reference you're using, whether you're using GDP numbers, whether you're using the stock market, the economy was better, and I think the lives of the American people individually were better. I think he needs to really get a lot of work done on that. Now, the next area is law and order. Now, I think the reason why the Biden Harris administration has been really bad on this is because they seem to have this idea that those that commit crimes aren't perpetrators. They're actually victims of a society where they're being pushed to commit crimes. That's kind of the attitude towards criminals when it comes to the regressive left, which includes media, academia. And I think the Biden Harris administration, that's kind of the attitude they've been going with. Trump, I think, really needs to push the justice system into kind of copping on, I will say, because they've been very reluctant to go after criminals and actually punish them properly. And I think it's really been egregious when it comes to violent crimes. Now, what's been going on in the States over the last 4 years, in terms of soft sentences, like we're kind of used to here in Ireland, but it's ridiculous either way. So I think Trump and especially his judicial nominees, including Pam Bondi, who is his nominee for the Attorney General of the United States, has a lot of work to do. Now, because watching Pam Bondi on the nomination hearings, she's done very well. I do hope she needs the support though. She needs a hell of a lot of support and a lot of backing, not just from Trump though, and not just his administration, but also from the justice system itself. And this is kind of where it's going to be interesting. I hope she gets that support because work needs to be done on that. Now, one of the big ones, immigration. I think it's safe to say that the immigration system under the Biden Harris administration has been a complete, utter failure. And it kind of stems from pretty much his early days. And because he undid a lot of the sensible Trump policies that Trump brought in during his administration. One of them being the Remain in Mexico policy, where people who were claiming asylum stayed in Mexico until their asylum claims were heard. And that actually stopped a lot of it because people they weren't able to use the asylum system. They weren't able to abuse it because they weren't getting into America immediately. So that's effective. That's shown to be exceptionally effective. And I think Biden undoing that in the first few days of his administration really showed where he was going to go with the immigration side. And I think his entire administration continued on with that, especially since he appointed Kamala Harris as vice president as border czar, and where it was her responsibility to kind of keep track and to kind of deal with the border crisis, which she did nothing to kind of deal with. It got worse and worse, and it's almost like she wasn't even paying attention. She was almost asleep at the wheel, which I think is kind of fair enough to say. If the border gets that bad under your nose, you almost have to do it, and you always have to be that incompetent intentionally. I think that's kind of how it was. So Trump really needs to get those policies back and kind of empower border enforcement to be able to take care of the numbers that are there, as well as deporting those that shouldn't be in the country. Foreign policy. This is one that's I've been getting a bit more interested in, especially. I think the Afghanistan withdrawal really shows that what happens when the US isn't strong, or it's not seen as strong as by the world, because when the US isn't strong, and that was the Afghanistan withdrawal really showed that bad actors like Putin in Russia, like Hamas, like the Houthis, like a lot of the kind of terrorist groups, as well as the tyrannical governments of the world. That's an opening for them to really go forward in their bad acts, and that has really shown in the last 4 years. I mean, I think when Trump says that Putin wouldn't have invaded Ukraine and that Hamas wouldn't have enacted October 7th, I think he actually has a point there. Because with Trump, when he said something, especially when it comes to foreign policy, you actually had no idea what he'd actually do, if he was actually bluffing or whether he was actually going to do it. I think that's really shown in the recent ceasefire and hostage deal that has taken place between Israel and Hamas. Because Trump said if it was, I think it was 48 hours he gave after he was inaugurated, that if Hamas didn't give back the hostages, there would be hell to pay, was the quote. And with Trump, you don't know whether he means that or not. So it's a good thing to kind of go with him on that. So I think that's why those bad actors were hesitant to do anything in his first administration, because he could very well have gone after you. And so that, I think, even though it was a bizarre way to do foreign policy, it worked. Now, there's a lot of other areas he needs to deal with, but I think energy is a big one. Because energy underpins everything. Everything in the economy, kind of everything in life. Because without power, you can't do the things that makes a civilization run, essentially. That's why everything in the economy has got so expensive. The need to transport it has got super expensive. Now, the poor excuse Biden would give for this is, oh, that increases because of Putin's invasion of Ukraine, which I think it's fair enough some of it is, not a lot of it, especially considering the fact that most of that increase happened before Putin invaded, and the rest of it is considered was is being pushed by not just Biden and Harris, but also the Democrat Party in general, that it's profiteering and greed from the big oil companies. That doesn't make sense considering the fact that those big oil companies are always greedy. They didn't just get greedy when Biden came in. So that argument doesn't really stand out. The reason why it's gotten worse. Now, COVID actually had an effect on this too, because it restricted the supply. Now, during COVID, we didn't need that much supply because cars weren't going. After Now that COVID is gone, we're back to normal, but the supply hasn't kept up because it takes a while for them to get back up and running. And second of all, Biden has made it next to impossible for them to get back up and running. So, of course, power is going to be a lot more restricted given the fact that it's harder to get more of it because it's almost illegal to do it. Again, as I said before, there's a lot more to this that Trump needs to get a hold of, handle on. I hope he does, because when the US does well, the world does well, and history has kind of shown that. So, Trump, I do hope you get things back on track. I hope you make America great again, because we need a lot. There's a lot of work done, especially after the last 4 years of Biden and Harris. So what do you guys think? Share your thoughts with me in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear them. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button and do not forget to subscribe to keep up with my latest videos. The next 4 years is going to be interesting, to say the least. I hope it goes well. I suspect that it probably will, based on his first term. But it's going to be interesting. I'm going to be following it very intently because another 4 years of Trump, it ain't going to be boring. That's the only thing we know for sure.